Hi, everybody. This is Jeff Morgenthaler with another great webinar. I'm here with Craig Mertens. Hi, Craig.
What's happening?
Hey, I'm going to give Craig a quick introduction here. A lot of you probably don't know this, but Craig and I worked together about 6 years ago, and I worked for him for 13 years. So I'm really
more like a sentence, I think, wasn't it?
What's that?
It's more like a sentence than a.
We had a lot of fun. You helped get me into this industry. You and Jay Bassell brought me in, and we've had a lot of fun over the years. In fact, when we've been talking about what webinars we should do, I have constantly been bringing up your name and bringing up CorelDRAW, because we often speak to people about Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator. But CorelDRAW, we have a lot of CorelDRAW users. There's a lot of users out there in this industry, and it works great for direct-to-garment printing. And when I think about who the experts are in this industry, you're the top of the list, Craig. Nobody knows this better. When I worked with you, I just saw how much time and dedication you spent learning it, practicing it, teaching it year after year. You are the expert. So
thank you.
We're very excited to have you here, and I'm excited to listen to what you have to say. I'm going to let you do the content. If I think of some questions that people have, or if I see something that people put into the chat or into the Q&A, I'll interject if it makes sense. If not, we'll answer some of those questions at the end.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
Hey, and I just want to say, Jeff and I have known each other for a lot of years, and I just want to vouch for him a little bit. He's one of the best people I know. And as far as an industry professional, he really knows what he's talking about. And he's really one of those kind of special people in my life. So thank you for inviting me to be part of this. I really appreciate it. What I want to do is I want to talk a little bit holistically about kind of the state of our industry right now and what people are doing. When COVID hit, people freaked out. I mean, it was very stressful for anybody that was a small business owner. And one of the things that we've seen is that the business climate that has changed. It's evolved. And one of some of the people that are doing really, really well right now are people that have DTG printers. Here's why. They can print on demand, they can print one, and they can respond very quickly to the marketplace. And so we've seen an incredible number of our clients that were more brick and mortar oriented businesses pivot to two things. They've pivoted to print on demand, community fundraisers. They've pivoted to mass. Mass are a big deal. And by the way, Epson printer does a phenomenal job printing mass. Maybe Jeff can talk about that a little bit later. And so there's a new business climate. And one of the things that we've discovered is that you have to have ways of interacting with your clients that aren't necessarily face-to-face. Not everybody's going to be comfortable over the counter, meeting in your place of business. And so one of the things that we've done, you'll see that in the class here today, is we've developed web-based collaboration tools that allow you to interact with your clients. We have a lot of clients set up Zoom meetings to work with their clients now. And we have clients that have reopened and they have people coming into their stores. And so that's just a different experience for everybody. So we're going to show you some collaboration tools that you can use using the web that help you to get ideas in front of your customers. The other thing I want to talk about just real quickly is we have a whole product line for Adobe Illustrator users as well. And so if you're an Illustrator user, all of our newer graphic content is all fully compatible with Illustrator for Mac or Windows. And so you can utilize our products with the Adobe products as well. So you want to get into I suppose I'm going to pull out of the video part and let me share my screen here. And let's see, let's pop that up. So I'm going to stop my video and then I'm going to do a screen share.
Yeah, while you're doing that, Craig, I'll just mention you brought up masks. Just the other day, I print masks for my kids going back to school. I put their school logos on them, and they're wearing those back to school. So
it's interesting you mentioned that. We're actually doing a whole art volume of just mask designs for schools and teams and sports. We're in the middle of that right now. It's pretty crazy. So, all right, so let me share my screen here real quick. And you guys should be seeing that up on my screen. Do you see a design that says seniors on it?
We do, yep.
Okay, great. So I want to talk a little bit, the technology that you guys are looking at. This is a technology that's called Smart Designer. Smart Designer is an add-on software for Corel. It's not a plug-in. It actually interfaces directly into Corel. We call it a blend-in program. And that program is going to work with the three newest versions of Corel, which are going to be Corel 2018, Corel 2019, and Corel 2020. Smart Designer inhabits the CorelDRAW user interface via this Docker right here. And this is how we interact with the software. It adds about 160 features to the CorelDRAW program that are either features that Corel doesn't have on its own or automate complex production processes. And you'll get a chance to see that a little bit later. But the first thing I really want to talk about is artwork collaboration. And I want to talk about how customers interface with their customers on graphics. And one of the things that, that I really admire about DTG printers is the ability to do a sample. And that ability to do a sample, to me, that is one of the greatest things about a DTG printer. There's nothing like being able to hold a t-shirt in your arms and see specifically what it's going to look like. And so one of the things that we need to be able to do in today's business climate is get those ideas in front of customers, so that, and that could be in the form of a virtual sample or a physical sample. One of the things that I'm showing you right here, this is one of my clients, which is Tom from Stoga Graphics, and he's embedded catalogs into his website. And one of the things about these catalogs is this is an interactive tool that he utilizes to interface with his customers. So one of the programs that we do is called our Graphics Plus membership program. And in the Graphics Plus membership program, that's how you get your Smart Designer software. There's another application that comes with your membership that's called Rhinestone Designer. That's an application for doing rhinestone multi-decoration and vinyl graphics. And so he's getting new graphics every month. And those new graphics are being populated into his Smart Designer software, but there's also catalogs that he's linked to these catalogs on his website. So for instance, when the kind of whole COVID thing happened, we'll go ahead and click on this. We kind of responded to that by creating a graphics collection specifically for what was happening. And we did a whole series of, community strong type graphics. We even did all the states. So you could swap that out with your home state, Arizona in there right now. You'll notice that these graphics are in one color, in multicolor, and then in full digital color. Your DTG space can be any three of these graphics. And sometimes with the DTG printer, Jeff, you can agree with this, sometimes just a one color print. I mean, just white ink on a navy shirt or a black shirt,
I
little
have
overlay.
shirts like that where I come up with a saying or just something I want to put on there, and it's just white, and you nailed it on a navy blue.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. And so something like this isn't a font, that's actually a drawing, almost like think of it as graffiti. It would be a good way to explain it. So we responded to that, what was going on by producing basically a kit. It's interesting, if you go down to this design right here, I had a client that had an order for 5,000 t-shirts from this design. And what he did with that design, it was actually a one color design, and they just did the name of a national chain of care facilities, and they dropped it into the heart. And I think he gobbled up every burgundy t-shirt in North America to produce this order. So this is what you call your stock art. Stock art is that artwork where you can send a customer to, like, say, an online catalog. They find something they connect with. They place an order. This is going to be some of your most profitable work that you do, because there's really not a lot of art time involved in doing this. It's stock design. You change the colors, change the text, maybe change out the clip art. Not a lot of work involved in it. You can turn volume. It makes you productive and profitable at small order volumes. And this is, to me, this is a very, very important part of our business. And this is your kind of your sweet spot. But the other part of the artwork interaction that we have with customers is customer supplied artwork, right? So the customer comes to you, they have their logo. They probably not in a format that's production ready, so you got to clean it up. They have their logo, and you're producing their artwork, their logo. I talked to a client yesterday, and she said she was doing, that was her whole primary business was that kind of work. She was actually doing jobbing for a sporting goods dealer in her hometown, and they were supplying all the artwork, and all she was doing is printing it, and she was acting like a contractor. Well, guess what? They got their own equipment, and she had literally lost 80% of her business. That logos on stuff work, where we're just reproducing artwork, we want that business. That's an important part of our business, but it is a bit of an easy come, easy go type of situation, because there's many online resources people can purchase that from. And where our clients have been at somewhat of a disadvantage when COVID hit was, guess what? Folks, their consumer habits changed. And so a lot of people started buying online. And we'll get into that a little bit later, but that logos on stuff, we want that business, but it's hard to have retention on that because they can shop it around. It gets a little bit commoditized. But then there's a third type of business, and that third type of business is custom. And that's when your customer comes to you and they have a vague idea of what they want. And maybe they have a customer this morning said, it was funny, he goes, they have a scratched out cocktail napkin. I thought that was pretty funny. And they want you to, they have no clue what they want, and they need you to create something. And that's one of the things. If you have an in-house art department, you might have the ability to do that, but your artist might spend 3, 4, 5 hours doing a custom graphic, and we probably want to know what the ultimate order size is going to be on that. Jeff, you remember that that little cartoon on YouTube where the guy says, "I want to order some T-shirts," and you remember that cartoon? And the dude's saying, "Yeah, I just want to have one first, but I promise you, I'm going to order 1,000 down the road." You know, we've all we've all heard that. If
Yep.
we don't have a quick and easy and efficient way to create custom graphics, that really bites into our profitability. And so what you're seeing here, this is something called Graphics Builder, and we're going to do a little project based on this. This is the building blocks of custom graphics. And so what we did is we built a new collection of designs. These are all available in Corel and Illustrator format. We've included all the backgrounds and textures, any kind of clip art illustrations, fonts. We're kind of well known for being a font foundry, and any graphics elements. And you use this to interface with your customer in terms of creating a custom graphic. So you could sit with the client and say, okay, let me just give you some rough ideas. Here's kind of more traditional collegiate athletic look. Here, if you know, it's a summer camp, right? So what if we want to do something more like 80s retro and some bright fun colors? No, that's not your thing. How about like a traditional collegiate look? Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that might work. Or you know, something that's really popular right now is this kind of beer label look, or throwing back to 70s retro, or maybe just a classic athletic design with the weathered overlay with the name of the camp and the description underneath, and we'll swap this out with the mountain scene. So you're utilizing this as a tool to work with your customer in terms of developing the concept. And there's actually 4 of these collections, and they're quite robust, and people link these into their website. So how I got here is I just linked from Tom's website into this catalog. He has the catalogs into his built into his website. And one of the things that people really appreciate about graphics is when it looks like something you're seeing at retail, when it looks like a graphic that you've seen in a college bookstore, or a graphic you've seen online in, like, you know, the graphics tees section of Forever 21, or it's a graphic that looks like something that you're seeing in a tourist shop. Having graphics that are relatable and that look like what you're seeing in the marketplace, to me, is really, really important. And we design that way. We do tremendous amount of research to create graphics that are relevant, that look like the current graphical styles. And this page is a perfect example of that. This is the same template. It's just modified 3 different ways. It's configured with different parts, same repeated graphic elements, different fonts, different clip art. You know, it's same kind of arch, but with different fonts. This is a way that you're going to collaborate with your clients. And these online tools are great. And one of the things that's really cool about them is they're shareable. So if you go over here to the share, there's no reference to Digital Art Solutions on this whatsoever. You can send this catalog. They're not going to be able to backtrack and find us. You're going to claim this as your own artwork. And here's all your sharing links for Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Tumblr. Here is the embed code if you want to embed that into your website. And here's the URL for this publication. And Jeff, you could probably copy that URL out. Or we'll do that at the end of the webcast. I'll copy one of these URLs and we'll put it in the messaging so you guys can click through to one of these catalogs. So where do you go from here? How do you get that idea in front of your customer? One of the things that I've often said is, you know, you go and invest in all of this equipment, and you invest in maybe even a retail space and your supplies and materials and all that, and that's great. But you know what your customer cares about? They care about the graphic, what's coming off the machine. So they don't care what piece of equipment you have. They care about the end product. And so we have to have a quick, easy, and efficient way to create graphics, to get ideas in front of people and then get it through production. And DTG printing has some, you know, kind of unique aspects to it that need to be handled during the art production process. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk you through a typical project. We've talked to the customer, we've got their school colors, we know what the copy is going to be in the design. We might be doing this live with them on a Zoom meeting, or we're just going to do it back at the office and send that off to them as a proof. So the first thing I would do is I would access my library of templates. In the newer version of Smart Designer, that's done through what we call the graphics browser. And the graphics browser will have access to all of your files. It can preview many, many different file formats that can't be previewed in Adobe Illustrator or Corel. So this is my messy desktop and all the different things customers have been sending me. And here's an EPS file and a PNG, and there's a JPEG down there, a CDR, there's an AI file. We can utilize the graphics browser to access our own artwork, and we can assign keyword tags to our artwork, so it's easy for me to search for a design that's all the designs that I have for a particular group. Maybe it's a high school. The second part of the graphics browser is clip art. All the digital art solutions clip art is localized to the hard drive. I can do a keyword search, find what I'm looking for, and then templates. And Jeff, you're going to keel over when I tell you this. All the templates are searchable now.
Ooh,
Can you
wow.
believe it? Yeah, yeah, it's amazing.
Things
Yeah,
have,
that was, yeah, yeah. I mean, people have been asking me that for years. So under templates, if you had a specific thing you were looking for, let's say maybe you were looking for, you wanted to do equestrian designs, and you went to farm and ranch, and you went to equestrian, you could see all the equestrian related designs. You might ask Jeff about his horseback riding
I
experiences.
was just thinking you're going to bring that up.
No, I won't. I won't bring that up. I'll leave you be. Now, if you wanted to drill that down a little bit further, and you just wanted to see anything to do with horses, you could just search the templates or the clip art for horses, and then you're going to pick up, Broncos. You're going to pick up Mustang mascots. You're going to pick up rodeo. You're going to pick up all the things that are related to horses. In this case, we already know the graphic that we want. And so we're going to go to Graphics Builder 1, and we're just going to simply double click on the template to begin the editing process. This is all vector-based artwork. It's scalable. You can scale it up or down. You can easily change the colors. It'll print the same quality in a pen that it would print on a banner. So it's all completely editable. Now, this particular file has a weathered overlay that's sitting over the top to create that weathered effect. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that because we're going to add our own overlay. I think it's going to look cooler. So what we're going to do to begin the editing process, we're going to go over here to Templates, and we're going to click on Edit Text. All the text values in the design are going to be displayed. All we have to do is just type in the new text values. It's going to follow the paths or the arcs or envelopes that were set up. We're going to go down here to Wildcats, and we're going to change that to Bulldogs. I'm going to change that font right there to a more traditional non-stencil version of the game day font. This is one of our famous collegiate fonts. We'll change athletic department to seniors, and then where it says 81, we'll put 21 in there. So we have our design, except we have a Wildcat and a Bulldogs design. So what we're going to do next is we're going to change the artwork. And I'm going to go in and change this little mascot, a Wildcat, to a Bulldog. So I'm going to click on Select New Art. Graphics browser is going to pop up. I'll go to Clip Art. I'll type in the word Bulldog. We'll hit Enter, and we'll pull in a new Bulldog. So one of the things that we'll typically do with our clip art, and we're very well known for that, is we'll represent the clip art in multiple versions. So since we're kind of going for more of a screen print type look on our DTG printer here, I might just do a 2-color version, or I could do a full color, or maybe we have a vinyl cutter or a laser engraver. We might go with the single color, black and white. So I'm just going to double click on our little Bulldog here, and Mr. Bulldog is going to pop in here, and we can go in here if we want and move them around, make them bigger or smaller. We're not taking anything away from this file. We're still giving you the ability, if you choose to edit it manually. There's no, requirement for you to use it as is. And one of the things that you'll see our customers frequently do is just part these files out and mix and match different templates. So we have our base template. Here's where color becomes an important consideration. And Jeff knows this because he talks to customers all the time. They see something on the screen, they print it, and what's the question they ask, Jeff?
How do I change the color?
Right? And why doesn't it look the same as it's on the screen?
Yeah, and they're bringing in bitmapped images. They can't change the color. That's
and a lot of times, like Jeff was saying, it's a bitmap. And the challenge is we want to do is we want to get the image colored in a way that meets the client's expectations. So if this was truly a school that we were working for, they might have a very specific set of colors. One of the things that we do in Smart Designer, we have the ability to print out specific ink color charts for DTG printers that will fit on a single t-shirt. So we can print out the whole Pantone chart onto a single t-shirt, and then we can go to that chart and say, that's the color I want. Looks different on the screen, but ultimately I want it to print like that color. So let's just take that color and recolor the design with that color so the colors print out right. And that's a super great way to do color correction for vector graphics when you're doing DTG printing. It works great. So in this scenario, what I'm going to do is I've got all my colors right here, and we have a kind of a mismatch of colors because we picked up some colors from the Bulldog, and we had the colors in the existing template. And so what I would oftentimes would do, I'd say, okay, let's keep that color, and let's keep that color, and maybe that one and this one, and let's do a reduction. Let's just reduce those colors. So we just reduce those down, and then let's go in and just change these colors up. So I'm going to go to a swap. I'm just going to say, okay, I know the color that is going to be the perfect purple that's going to print out on my Epson printer is going to be this purple. So let's recolor it to that purple. And I know that the color that I want to do, I want to merge these two colors actually. I want this color and this color to be cool gray 6. So I can go over here and just type in Pantone Cool Gray 6. You can use any palette that you want. There's that. And then this color right here, actually I want that to be white because we're going to do this on a black shirt. So we're going to swap that out with white, and bada boom, bada bing. And then what you can do if you want, you can move colors around. This little trick, if you can hold your right mouse button down and drag and drop color from one object to another. Now here's some of the things when you're running Smart Designer. If you want to add a quick effect, you've got thousands of effects. So we could just go over here to effects, and we could say, okay, I want to do just like that classic collegiate effect, inline outline effect. Let's pick that effect. Let's go ahead and hit apply, and we've applied that effect. And then all these objects in here can all be edited. So that's an actual object. So if I wanted to change the color of that outline, again, I could just drag and drop color from one object to another. So there we go. So the idea here is we want to get this in front of a customer. And so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a virtual sample. So I'm going to utilize the virtual samples feature in the Smart Designer software. It comes with hundreds of different photos and vector line illustrations of products, but you can add any product you want to from any website. It doesn't have to be apparel, it could be a Yeti mug, and you can add them into categories, and that way you have access to all the common products that you'd be printing. So what I want to do is I just want to put this on a little black ladies district made t-shirt from Sanmar. We'll click on that, design goes in there. If we want to make it bigger, smaller, we can do that. It's just a vector graphic. And something I think that would look neat on this one is let's add a weathered overlay to that. And this becomes a little tricky with DTG printing, because with DTG printing, we have two ways to have the weathered overlay work. One is we can knock the colors through the graphic and then delete those colors. So just have it knocked through in the actual vector graphic. And we have a specialized feature for that. Or we can just use, we can omit a color from the print file and using a masking color. And so the first thing I want to do is use this little dropper here to select the t-shirt. So we selected the t-shirt color. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create the overlay in the color of the shirt. And the way we can do that is just simply clicking on the graphic. I'm just going to hit J for jersey. And we're going to do a jersey overlay, which looks super cool on a DTG printer. Boom. What do you think of that, Jeff?
That's awesome.
That look great?
In fact, we had a question about the overlays while you were talking. And the question was that she has trouble using them. I have to trace them and weld them before I can use them for DTG. So when you export this as a PNG file, Craig, would you see that just with the overlay knocked out?
Yeah, here's what we'd want to do in that case. We actually have a specialized feature just for that. So if I took this graphic right here, and I could take this, and we have in our Rhinestone Designer software, we have vector-based overlays that are not composed of bitmaps that would knock straight through there. And so you would use a different type of overlay that automatically does all that welding and trimming for you, and that would actually knock the graphic through.
Okay, cool.
And then make it disappear. That would be the type of overlay that you would do for DTG. And in that case, you could just print this. And if you could create it as a PNG file, it'll all be transparent. There won't be any color in there. This is in my opinion, this is the best way to do overlays for DTG. It's a really cool feature.
And by the way, you couldn't make that any easier. That was amazing.
Yeah, we designed that because we got tired of answering the question that you just asked me about that. People ask that over and over and over. Okay, so let's make a little sales flyer. So we're going to come over here, and I'm going to go to proposal sheets, and we can create a flyer that's our proposal, there's some flyers that we created that were just layouts that we had, and we can add them as your proposals, say new proposal style, or we can create a proposal from stock layouts, so we can do that. And I'm going to clear this proposal, and then we'll add this graphic, and then we can add all kinds of neat things to the proposals. We can have it auto increment the date, we can put a job number on it, we can have it put a watermark, all kinds of neat stuff. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say create proposal here, and we're going to dynamically create the sales proposal. And the way we're going to get this in front of the customer is a PDF file. And so we would publish this out as a PDF file. In the software, there's an option to flatten the vector image in the graphic, it's right here, into a bitmap, so there's no possible way the customer could steal the artwork. And I didn't choose that option. This is actually the original vector, but right there is, we'll go ahead and delete the little watermark if we want, or we can leave it. Here's the colors that are used in the design. Here's all the text. You want to put like a pricing or any kind of copy in there, you can do that. And it auto incremented the date. When we create our own flyers, all we have to do is go to data and go to job information and just take that text value and then just hit apply that tag to that, so it'll knows it's a date and will auto increment it, which is really neat. And so from here, we'll just click on publish to PDF, and we'll just create a quickie little PDF for this file. And you could drop that into an email. And after the webcast, we'll actually create a little web page. Oh, we can do that real quick. Hang on, we'll just do that real quick. We're going to go over here, and I'm just going to use a tool called Hightail Spaces to create a little space, and we'll just call it Bulldogs Concepts.
While you're doing that, Craig, somebody made a comment. Yes, it really is that easy. I use it all the time. Best product ever.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Check's in the mail. All right, so I'm going to drag and drop this PDF onto this temporary web page I just created. It's going to upload, and let's see here. I can take this, see if we can use the chat function. See if I can use the chat. I don't know if I can chat that over, but we'll do that after the webcast. We'll chat the link over, and then so what the customer is seeing is this. They're seeing this proposal. It's all about getting ideas in front of customers. And oh, by the way, they can comment on this as well and use it as an approval process. It's about getting ideas in front of customers. And so what we've been doing for the last 24 years, we've been producing a methodology and a set of tools that helps you to be a more efficient graphics person. Instead of having to know all these traditional multi-step processes in, say like an Illustrator or CorelDRAW by itself, you're just pushing buttons. You don't have to know all this complicated stuff with our set of tools. You can, if you just want to do a simple little arc and, go in here and this is one of my new favorite fonts. We've been doing these new fonts, and we've been doing all these Marvel superhero fonts, and that's the Iron Man font. We did Captain America font too, did Guardians of the Galaxy too, which was kind of fun. So, when I did, when I want to, create like an arc, I don't have to learn all that stuff in Corel. All I'm doing is using automation. This is all Smart Designer stuff. If I want to create like a complex effect for digital printing versus like something that was going to look more like a screen print, I could go down here and then just double click on the effect and apply that effect. I don't have any overhead in terms of time and learning curve to learn how to do this stuff. It's just all automatic.
That looks amazing.
And the concept is this, if you're armed with a arsenal of artwork, you can go into any business type segment that you want. If you want to go into military, you got to have military artwork, right? If you want to go into the church world, you have to have church related artwork. Or if you're servicing a very specific niche, maybe it's first responders. And so what we've done over the last 24 years is we've produced thousands and thousands of graphics that will allow you to migrate into all those business opportunities. And the thing that I'm probably most proud of is our training program. And so we do training on Mondays and Fridays. It's open to the entire public. Anybody can join the training through digitalartsolutions.com. You can register at the Graphics Academy link on our homepage. Mondays is always going to be a graphics related topic. Fridays is always going to be a business building topic. Like the class we're teaching tomorrow is on social media. On Wednesdays, we have exclusive classes for our Graphics Plus members. And those exclusive classes are divided into typically a new user orientation. Then we will do what's called fix-a-file classes, which are really, really super fun, where you guys send us your crazy artwork in advance of the class. We hand select the artwork we want to use in the class, and we show you how to deal with these real world production problems. And let me tell you, Jeff, remember those files you used to get from our customers?
Oh yeah.
Just imagine having to sort through hundreds of those. It's crazy. And that's really valuable because it gives people real world, a real world, example of how to deal with these problems. Color correction is a really common one. My colors aren't printing the right way. They're not printing like they look on my monitor. We'll do a whole section on that. Owners of the Graphics Plus membership would also have access to our members area. So if they wanted to log into the members area and see the archive of webcasts, we have about 250 hours of archived webcasts, so they can go and log in there. Here's just the public webcast for the Graphics Academy. Let's see here. Let's see. We'll go over here to Graphics Academy, and you guys can all join that. Super easy. It's free. And go to the class archive. Holy smokes. There's hundreds of classes in here. So the keys from my perspective, the keys to being successful in our industry are these four things. Number one, you have to have the right tools for the job. That's going to include your printer and your heat press and all the other production equipment you have, your materials and supplies, but it's also going to include your graphics software, and it's also going to include your graphics collection, so you don't have to create everything from scratch. Then you got to get trained on how to use it. That's where we do the online training, written documentations. I just looked, we have 360 YouTube videos. But something more important, our Graphics Plus members have access to a help desk. It's not tech support, that's different. Help desk is help, I don't know how to do this, show me how to do this. They have access to that. You can make an appointment with one of our trainers, they'll do a one-on-one, they'll get you rocking and rolling, you can send a file in. Training is critical. Once you get training done, then you got to do samples. It's all about samples. Samples are what sells. And if you can get ideas in front of customers and show them how their logo or their colors or the name of their school or the group looks in a very specific way, you can sell them. And let me show you a perfect example. This is from Mark Heiss from Yellow Springs, Yellow Springer, which is his business in Yellow Springs, Ohio. He took one of the designs from our Graphics Plus membership program. He popped this up on a t-shirt in April. He still has his store open. And this is an Inksoft store. This is part of our parent company. He popped this store open. It was just a silly little design. It was sheltering in place, spring break forever, Yellow Springs High School. Jeff, this store did over $7,000 in volume.
Wow.
With two graphics.
That's amazing. And, and I was thinking when you were showing the first client and you were going through those catalogs, how professional that looked and how amazing that is. But to have these tools that can create the artwork so quickly. In fact, we had a question. Somebody asked about when you were going through Smart Designer, if that would work in Adobe Illustrator.
So here's the polite way to answer that question. I'm an old Illustrator guy. I'm an old Mac guy, actually. I've been using Illustrator since 1988. The way you do graphics today in 2020 versus the way you did graphics in Illustrator in 1988 are exactly the same. There's new tools and things, of course, but the same production steps for arcing, changing colors, resizing, manipulating. So those tools don't change. And those tools are exactly the same kind of tools you'd see in CorelDRAW. The difference is the Adobe product does not have the architecture internally to do this third-party type integration. We can do plugins, we can take a file from Adobe and bring it into Adobe, a third party and bring it back, but we can't do this direct integration. And so our Adobe users, they'll use Smart Designer and CorelDRAW as a tool alongside their Illustrator as a way to complement it. And one of the things that we've been doing tons of lately is we take customers that have their Macs and Illustrator users, they see the virtues of what we're doing with Corel and Smart Designer, and they see how it's going to benefit their business, and they'll actually put parallels on their Mac and load Corel and run all of our stuff on their Mac. We do this all the time. It works great. So as much as I'd love to be able to have the similar technology for Illustrator, just the internal architecture isn't there to do it. So you use our, go ahead.
All the artwork is compatible with Illustrator.
Right.
It's just the automation that you were showing is specific to CorelDRAW.
That's correct. So if you were an Illustrator user, you would just open the template up and manually make the changes. We're not going to have the automation like virtual samples and text effects and color changing and keyword searches for clip art. They're just static templates that you would edit in Illustrator like you would any other graphic that you might have. And for somebody that's an Illustrator user that's more comfortable doing it that way, you can have your cake and eat it too. Here's a template right here. It's all the objects are there. You can recolor it. The text is live. You can change all the text values, but it's not going to be automated like what you're used to seeing in CorelDRAW. So you're not going to get that automation. But we have lots and lots and lots of Illustrator users that use our technology, and lots of Illustrator users that use Smart Designer CorelDRAW alongside their Illustrator. Because here's the thing, I do professional consulting for big giant companies. I did a consulting job for a big company, and they went from 101 graphic designers using Adobe Illustrator to 16 graphic designers using CorelDRAW and Smart Designer. All of those people were going to lose their jobs anyways because they were going to outsource the whole thing overseas, but they decided to keep it in-house, keep people in the United States, but just do it more efficiently. And so we're all about efficiency. We're all about workflow and saving time. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that's brilliant that you can save a company so much money. When I think about how many of these Epson direct-to-garment printers I've sold over the years, I think about all these clients out there, and there are hundreds of them, that you all have the same piece of equipment with the same capability. What's going to set you apart is going to be your graphics and how you market and how you interact with your clients. But it starts with these graphics. So, we've always used that term quality in, quality out. I changed it actually. It used to be
Ooh,
garbage in, garbage out.
yeah, right.
Positive spin better.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean that's it. Our customers, they don't have to learn, all these complex production steps. They're doing is, there's in this case, in the whole class, we've used 4 Corel tools, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. We use the pick tool, the shape tool, zoom tool, and text tool. Smart Designer does all the heavy lifting. All these complicated things like setting up this tail, it's a feature. You just click on it and do it. So it's all about time, and time is money, right? But more importantly, this concept of getting ideas in front of customers is so critically important. And if all things are considered equal, the company that has the better graphics is going to win in the marketplace. Is that fair to say, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we just give you all these great tools to be able to get those ideas in front of your customers. The online catalog thing, we didn't realize how big a deal that was, and it was interesting. I renewed our hosting for that yesterday. It was pretty expensive. And I renewed our hosting for that yesterday. And I was like, dang, this whole concept of hosting these online catalogs has actually changed our entire business model, because people use that fundamentally as the way they interact with customers on graphics. Our parent company, which is Inksoft, they have a whole very sophisticated set of tools that would allow you to set up your own web stores and online designer and all that stuff. But there's a lower tech way of doing that as well, which is just simply linking to the online catalogs. Tom here, that I was at Stoga Graphics, he's got Inksoft stores too. So he has all of that, built into his website as well. But this part here, thought it was really interesting that he puts his online catalogs. That's the first thing you see when you hit his website. And it's just become such a fundamental part of how he does business, because he just has right now, the ability to get ideas in front of customers without having necessarily face-to-face interaction is so critically important. And all I have to do is just click on one of these and start flipping through them.
That's
So,
awesome. Okay.
is there any other questions that people would like to?
Somebody asked about the versions of Corel that Smart Designer works with.
Okay, we'd like to see you in Corel 2018, 2019, or Corel 2020. And the reason for that is those are the only 3 versions that Corel Corporation continues to provide technical support for. And also those versions work really, really well with Windows 10. The older versions don't work well with Windows 10. In fact, there's lots of problems, and there's no tech support if you get into trouble. And with CorelDRAW, most people do the subscription because there's no more upgrades for Corel. The only way to get upgraded software now is to do the subscription. It's an annual fee. It's very affordable. And with our Graphics Plus membership program, you have the Corel subscription, so you always have the latest version. You're on our members program. Guess what? we're giving you new features and new curl compatibility. As soon as there's a new curl version, we just do a little update. Smart Designer works with your new curl, no upgrades. Super duper easy.
Perfect. And you mentioned Windows. What about Windows ME?
You really should. Yeah, right. I talked to a customer with Vista today, Jeff. That
Yeah.
was that was her move. Her computer in Vista bombed out, and she just bought a Windows 10 computer, and we actually got her all set up. So that was good.
Oh, Vista. I forgot about Vista too.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. Um,
So we got another question here for you, Craig. They say, this is from Arlene, we use Corel. We can transfer AI files. We have stores where some items are DTG, but some are screen printed, the same design. Can we take files from your portal and easily switch them to vector with the color layers?
it's even better than that. So if we were to come back to this file right here, okay, this is already color separated for screen printing, and I could export this as an AI file. A typical workflow, this would be a typical workflow, is if I want to color separate this for screen printing, it's already separated. So if I want to create color separations in Smart Designer, I'd just go to color separations. If I was going to apply any kind of halftone settings, frequency and angle, all that kind of nerdy stuff, we would do that through the halftone wizard. We actually have halftones in this file, which is that color right there. So we're going to apply a halftone setting to that. So that'll print out as a dot pattern. And then we're just going to print out our color separations right here. We'll hit apply. It'll create the color separations. And then what you would do is export this as a PDF file or a Illustrator file, your choice. And if you want to print it from Illustrator to your RIP software, you just print it. So here's your seps right there. Let's add some separation marks real quick. And we'll add our sep marks. We could set up an underbase if we want. So there's your color separations right there for doing films.
That's so cool.
Yep.
Okay, got another question for you. Is 2020 better than 19? I have a lot of crashes with 19.
Yeah, yes, it is. And the reason that you're getting crashes in 2019 is there's a notorious bug that has to do with node placement that impacts node editing, contouring, converting outlines to objects. And if you get the right scenario of nodes that are either super close and adjacent to each other or sitting on top of each other in a vector graphic, it can cause Corel to crash. I love 2019. It's a great version. It's one of the best versions they've ever done. But that persistent bug is very annoying to people because you do get crashing. That bug was fixed in 2020. And I got to tell you, I have not crashed 2020. It is rock solid, super fast, super stable, and in my opinion is the very, very best version of Corel they've ever done. I love it.
Awesome. Does Smart Designer come with Inksoft? So if I were to sign up for Inksoft and use that, would I get Smart Designer with it, or is that separate purchase?
No, but here's the thing. The Digital Art Solutions is a separate business entity, and Inksoft is our parent company. There's lots of benefits to being both an Inksoft and DAS client in terms because of the way the programs work so sympathetically. You know, they just work so well together in terms of the synergies between the programs. So I could take this graphic, upload it to my Inksoft store, and create a web store, right? If you're a Digital Art Solutions client, there are benefits to you when you sign up for Inksoft. There's a special program for you. If you're an Inksoft client already, there's a special program to get involved in Digital Art Solutions. So there's a huge financial benefit for people that do both, if that explains it.
And so if they were interested in those specials, they should just call in and talk to you.
Yeah, they can reach out on our web form, or if they want to chat over their information on the chat function, we can certainly have somebody follow up with them. And we are going to do a special for everyone on the webcast. And so what I'm going to do is, I don't know if I have do I have the ability to do the chat here? I'm going to stop showing my screen, and then I'm going to pop my video up here. You guys should see me. So what we're going to do on the chat, we did some specials that are part of this webcast. And we did these specifically for, guess what? Equipment Zone folks on the webcast. I'm going to chat those over.
Specifically for sales.
For that too.
Yeah.
And I'm also chatting
That's awesome.
links to our e-commerce links. If anyone is interested in our graphics builder products, this is actually our members pricing, which if you go to our website, this is going to be considerably less than if you were to e-commerce this on our website. So we're gonna let you guys do members pricing up until September 1st. And that would apply to both an Illustrator user as well as a CorelDRAW user. If you were just interested in purchasing Graphics Builder. What I always recommend with any prospective new client, I always recommend that we set up a consultation and a demo, because every client is slightly different. People have different production equipment, their market focuses are different, budgets are different, and we do a really good job of doing a quick little business analysis and figuring out what makes the most sense for you, if that makes sense.
Awesome. Thank you, Craig. I just have to say, if just listening to you, amazing. You really know your stuff, and so impressive to listen to you talk about CorelDRAW and Smart Designer. I remember when I first saw Smart Designer and my jaw fell open, because I had had a family business, sign business. And when I look at how quickly you can make production ready graphics and put them in a sales presentation, I was doing all that stuff manually. It was costing me dozens of hours a week. And it would have changed the way we did business. And so I love this product. Oh, and it's funny you kept using the Bulldog. So here's a face mask. I asked my wife to sneak this in while you were talking, and she did this whole sneak in the door, roll across the floor because she didn't want to be on camera.
Ninja move.
I printed their logo on the side of the face mask using the Epson direct-to-garment printer. There you go.
Nice.
And so they wore these to school yesterday and got just tons of questions about it.
Yeah, the kids all wanted to get them. Yeah, we see that over and over again. That's why we're actually building a mask-based product for DTG and sublimation, and it's really been a really kind of interesting project. It's turning out great. Everybody loves the idea. One of the questions that somebody had asked, I saw that, is, because they're subscription-based products with the digital art solution software and the Inksoft software, yes, that does mean you're always up to date. There's no upgrades. There's no reason to. And one of the modern way of doing software now is subscription-based, because we can't chase Microsoft and Apple with all the updates and things that are constantly happening. We just have a continuously updated software. There's no upgrades. You get a new computer, you just install it. It'll have the latest version, no IT, and it's brilliant. And I'm so grateful that we went to that program, because our tech support, Jeff, went down 95% when we went to the subscription. That's awesome. People always have the latest software. Yeah. It's great. And we're always releasing new ideas. So
we just had one more question I want to address, and then I think that we're about done. But Jim Davis asked, will you give us a list of all the programs you mentioned today? And I think that we could do that probably in a follow-up email to everybody, right?
Yeah, and what I would recommend in that case, it's going to be better that we set up just a little Zoom meeting consultation. And we always like to find out what you're doing, because kind of the way that we help direct a client into a product is, we want to find out what equipment you own, we want to find out who your market focus is, who you're selling to, and then we want to talk about a budget. And it's just so hard to do that with just back and forth. It's impossible. And also, all these specials that we're talking about, they're all unpublished. None of that, you're going to find any of that online. These are way less than what, we would never publish these online.
Yeah, thank you for that, Craig. We really appreciate it. Appreciate you and your expertise and sharing that with everybody. I appreciate Jay Bassell, who's been working behind the scenes to make all this happen. Thank you, Jay.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
Are we going to get to see that do going on? Now, I just have to mention real quick.
Yeah, Jay needs to pop in and show off the do.
Has not had a haircut during COVID at all. And
what are you guys talking about? I'm having a hard time hearing it. It's not quite.
Yeah.
Look at those locks.
Look at that. Oh my goodness. That's amazing.
I thought it was one of those hats you put on that has the hair on it.
Yeah, it is. It is. You guys are funny. The reunion has officially started. Is this what it's come to, guys?
The shenanigans. And I have to be careful with you guys on these things.
We have a lot of knowledge that we can bring out, Craig.
It's the shenanigans. There's been a lot of shenanigans. And,
hey, listen,
and practical
if it's okay,
jokes.
There have been over the years. It's been a lot of fun. It's been great, Craig. It's been reminiscent of some really good times.
Great.
I also want to echo and say thank you for your time, for your talent, and being able to share that with our audiences. As you know, Jeff and I are big fans of digital art solutions and Inksoft, and we see these projects and can't wait for our audience to be better users and better managers of the graphics process. So Smart Designer, obviously, and all of the templates just make so much sense. But I would be not doing my job well if I didn't plug the next two sessions, which should be able to see on our screen. On Tuesday, we have a pre-treating and printing dimensional specialty products. A lot of talk about masks today. That will be one of the topics. Jeff and Roy will be managing that, as well as then again on Thursday, Craig, we're going to have you back. And I wasn't sure if it was going to be just you or you and JP, or what the real program is, but we want you back, and we want to get a little bit more specific on successful fundraiser programs. We know that's been a big piece of the success lately for some of your clients and some of our clients. So I think if we could come together and show some of the showcase some of that, that would be fantastic.
It's a wonderful topic, and that's one of my favorite subject matters, things to teach on, because it does show people real world ideas of how they can generate revenue right now. And I'm really looking forward to it. And so we'll see you guys next Thursday. And then also just invite you guys to sign up for our regular webcast series. I'm going to chat the link over there before we boogie out here. And anybody can join Graphics Academy. You'll have access to the archive, and I'm just going to chat that link over here. And you can just find it through the Digital Art Solutions website. But there's the link if anybody wants to sign up for Graphics Academy. Tomorrow's class is on social media.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Craig. Jeff, anything before we stop recording?
No, man, we hit it hard today. It was awesome. Appreciate it. And look forward to seeing you guys next week.
All right. Thanks, guys. Awesome.
Bye.
Take care. Okay. Bye.